What a way to start off the season. That was a great kickoff game in the NFL. It started out really fast, slowed down in the back half with the weather delay. The Cowboys did cover the 8.5-point spread. That was my prediction. So starting the season off 1-0. But we're going to talk through the game here, kind of break it down, see what happened in this one, and where these two teams go from here. So, right off the bat, it was a crazy start. You get an injury right on the kickoff, and then Jalen Carter comes up to Dak and spits in his face, gets himself kicked out of the game along with a 15-yard penalty. And, the penalty is obviously a blow for the drive, but, losing him for the game is a massive deal. Kind of set the tone to start, and the first drive was all Cowboys. They marched right down the field, a big pass to Lamb, set them up inside the 5, and then, Williams finished it off from there. And the Cowboys were off and running, but the Eagles went ahead and matched that. The first of 2 rushing touchdowns by Jalen Hurts. Not much through the air for Hurts, as you can see, 152 yards total passing. Dak only 188 himself, so neither quarterback breaking the 200-yard mark passing. Eagles, an interesting thing to notice here, not very efficient on the ground. 4.2 per carry is not great. Cowboys 5.4, certainly did better there, but they didn't feel super effective. Obviously, that long run from Sanders helps their average. I think the big stat to look at, the Eagles were very efficient on third downs. I'll have to double check what it finished at, but I saw at one point they were 6th for 8 on third downs with an average of third and 6.5 yards. That's incredible, and that's very detrimental for Dallas to be giving those up. You get a team consistently in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and you're giving up 75% of those. That's not going to be winning football games, and that's why a lot of Eagles drives were extended, and frankly why a lot of their stats don't look that great, but they were able to keep putting points up on the board. They didn't take big plays. There was a couple, but mainly it was slow marching down the field. I will say, though, the Cowboys did look good. The Cowboys looked good. I expected their offense to look pretty good, and it did slow down a bit in the second half. I didn't expect them to be able to slow down the run as much as they did. Barkley 3.3 yards a carry. You'll take that any day against this Eagles team. Hurts really hurt them more with his legs, more than Barkley did, especially early in the game. But really, second half, a big story is the drops by CeeDee Lamb. You had one on a third down early, or a second or third down, but across the middle, he knew he might get hit, and he drops it there. Would have been a big first down, probably in field goal range. Mind you, Cowboys scored no points in the second half, so they might have been field goal range there. Definitely with Aubrey, they actually would have been in field goal range. And then on the last drive, they have that deep post over the middle, which is dropped by Lamb, and then you have another one, kind of a fade go route on the left side, on 4th down, and I wouldn't call that one a drop, but I think all 3 had similar vibes of he was going for him, and he kind of sensed the guy coming, because all 3 of them did have a guy coming to light him up. None of them actually did, but maybe it's in the back of his head, some footsteps there, but those drops could have changed the game. At least 2 of the 3 were drops, and would have completely changed this game. Cowboys might have had a chance at the end, but the Eagles win. The Eagles start their title defense with a win, and next week they look for that Super Bowl rematch. They get a few extra days to prep for the Chiefs in Arrowhead. That's going to be a great game. That's that 4:25 Eastern one on Fox with Burkhardt and Brady. And then the Cowboys, they come home against the Giants, a much needed, you would think, easier game to get back on track after this tough loss, but that's a demoralizing loss. That's something you have to bounce back from. Losses like that are tough, and you really got to rebound the next week. Eagles, I feel like, frankly, they didn't play bad. I'm not even going to say they got outplayed, because I don't think they necessarily did, but this is when you walk away and the Eagles the way the game was going, and I think you're happy to just have this one in the win column. You know, it was getting a little shaky there. Cowboys were strong in the first half. They come out second half, look a little strong on that drive before it got stalled, but then they had 2 chances in the fourth quarter. In the last few minutes, that drop by Lamb, the last drive, Cowboys had their chances, and I think the Eagles are very glad to have this one in the win column. Now, is this a week 1 overreaction scenario? Are the Cowboys going to be better than expected? I don't think necessarily. I think they are exactly what we expected. I still like my prediction of them around 8 or 9 wins. I think they can beat teams they're supposed to. I think they're going to lose to some teams that are just better than them. And then the Eagles on the flip side, they're going to be fine. They win games. Even like tonight, it's not always perfectly pretty, but they get the job done one way or another, and they're 1-0. That's what matters, and I expect them to continue to have a great year. They showed they were maybe a little slow coming out the gate this year, but to come out a little slow and still get a win and against a divisional opponent is always a plus. Now you get some extra time to prep for KC. So let me know what y'all thought of the game. I think it was a great kickoff game. Second half was a bit slow, of course, with that weather delay, and really only 3 points scored in that second half, but it was a fun game nonetheless. Looking forward to Friday night in Brazil, and then a great Sunday and Monday of football.